Welcome to the last Parish Council meeting in 2025. We've got no new planning applications to consider this evening, but there is a report back on the status of the previously considered applications. The resolutions that we've got for tonight are to consider actions on the village sign of the triangle. So the resident has very kindly offered to repair the sign itself, but the post and frame will need replacing, and we can't use public art funding for that. But depending on that decision, there's a second resolution to proceed with using that public art funding for artwork in the bus shelters, which was the other programme that we found was allowable within the public art funding criteria. There's a resolution to the Councillors Papers available to the public online, so you can see what we're talking about, because we quite often talk about go through the clerk report or go through other supporting documentation, and I think it'd be useful to make that available. We've got a resolution relating to actions trees in Castlethorpe, as it's 2 years since we had them surveyed and took some of the immediate actions that were needed then. A resolution to progress the acquisition of solar panels on the pavilion, as we've been successful in obtaining a national lottery grant for the bulk of the cost. To acquire a guard for the padlock of the tennis courts, to consider some action relating to a specific tree in Castlefield. As we move on to the financial side, as well as the monthly payment schedule, we will also consider the second draft of our 2026-7 budget, and possibly the precept that will be charged, but certainly working our way through the budget. There is a part 2 this evening from which we will be ceasing the live stream, and the public will be excluded. There are 3 items in that part 2. One is to consider a dispute with the business which was responsible for waste bins in the pavilion, and of course some expenditure by the parish council. To consider quotes for replacement doors at the village hall on the street side entrance, and to consider quotes for replacement fencing at the back of the village hall if those quotes are in. But in case any of you don't make it to the end of the meeting, which is possible, can I wish you all a very happy Christmas and a new year on behalf of the Parish Council. And the first meeting of 2026 is on Monday the 5th of January at 7:30 as usual. So that's by way of the introduction. The open forum, are there any matters that anyone would like to raise? Kevin?
The matter of the footpath at the junction of South Street, North Street.
Yeah.
You're aware of the name of the property, I think.
Yeah.
Hanging trees preventing use of the footpath pushes pedestrians into the middle of the road. And the cars coming from Havisham around at speed. Pedestrians are in the middle of the road.
Since we spoke about that, Kevin, I have looked and I do see what you mean. The resident there is very, very elderly, as I mentioned. It's his responsibility to have the trees and bushes that overhang cut back, and we'll have to consider basically how we're going to approach that, because it's got to be done delicately. He's well into his 90s now. So yeah, okay, we'll discuss that as we progress.
Okay, and that's a similar thing is just on the footpath that leads past that property is jam-packed solid with wet solid leaves that are just staying there.
Yeah.
And again, having the same effect. You don't want to walk on them, not know what you're walking. So you're walking in the road again. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm afraid with the leaves, that is the responsibility of Milton Keynes Highways, not the householder. They do come round periodically and sweep, but obviously, they don't get around at the rate which trees fall off the trees in the orchard.
They're clear everywhere else. It's just there. They've seen for some reason stuck there. They're solid and they're not known anyway.
Yeah.
Where's that?
On the corner of North Street and South Street.
Opposite number 27, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or where's it
It's-
called?
Yeah, it's where you go around into South Street and that.
Yeah, when you go down just into South Street is the overhanging trees. If you were just to carry on walking towards the church, towards yourself, the left-hand footpath opposite cottage to either side of the road.
Yeah,
The footpath, I say, is just there's no
Yeah,
footpath
yeah.
to walk on. So it's,
Okay, I'm not quite sure what we can do actually, but all right, we'll probably discuss it outside of the meeting because just to see what is possible.
thank you.
And when they sweep, they don't sweep footpaths, do they? They sweep gutters. So they don't do anything with footpaths against council, I don't think. I've
Well,
not seen those
I'm
very.
I'm not quite sure where we go on this because obviously we don't have any ability.
I don't think there's an awful lot we can do,
I'm
to
not
be
sure
honest.
there is.
It probably comes down to someone volunteering.
yeah. Just
Yeah.
go
Yeah, I
They get
think.
pushing the leaves up.
The other side down.
on my drive,
No.
bottom of my drive,
No, the other side. If you went from your drive
yeah,
back towards Havisham along the footpath,
yeah.
it's the other side of the road, the footpath, the other side of the road.
But the thing is, if you ask for the council to come do something that they won't do, the leaves will have gone by now.
Well, you would have thought, but say these are just sodden pile of
Yeah, it's all.
Yeah.
mulch. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know, but it's not new leaves or.
yeah.
And they're big old trees, what's the reason?
Yeah.
All
But like I
right,
say, it's just down to someone to volunteer and go and do
Yeah.
it.
It's got to be that, yeah.
That's what happened at school.
Yeah.
Some parents, there was a call out just for some people to
Yeah.
go because they collect leaves every year in front of the
trouble is you've then got to find somewhere to put the thing.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what I was
there's a lot of-
saying.
They
I
put a lot of
can
bush
explain
in the
put
car,
them,
yeah.
So then where do you put them?
Okay, yeah. All right, well, we'll have to ponder on that, probably offline with some WhatsApps or something, see if we can get anyone to do that. Okay, is there anything else, Tony?
In Old Strat, there's an application in Old Strat, there's a crossroads, isn't there?
Yeah,
And you've got the old Beans Hammer Road.
yeah,
There's an application in there, 250 houses. Right. With all the traffic coming out into Old Stratford on the crossroads, there's going to be funding. That's an application that's in.
sorry, and that application is, say again, it's where, you go on the Dean's
If you
Hanger
go
Road
down
out
that
of
road,
Old
it's
Stratford.
dead end. There's houses on the left, behind those, Parks Trust own quite a big acreage, and it's on that, looking over past the.
That's going up towards Deanstown, not going down towards Cos Road.
No, I go towards Beantown.
Oh, you're saying Parks Trust are selling land for housing?
Yeah,
I own
Yeah.
a lot.
Okay, for some reason, I thought they'd given assurances to Milton Keynes Council, they weren't. That's not right.
That's not
Hey,
that.
I'm going to say it's on the
They
plans.
have, they have trust land, but they also have land that's asset land for them to dispose of
Yeah.
and bring in reserves.
But this is Northampton, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's West Northampton.
Yeah.
The West Northampton councillor Ian McCord is leading the campaign against it.
Okay, good. Okay, is there anything else then?
I know.
Or we'll start the meeting itself. Right, so first of all, apologies, I've had.
Luke did apologise, I just remembered he apologised earlier in the month, he said it first of December.
Oh, that's right, yes. Yeah. Yeah, Kay did contact me and by reason of work, but we are still for it, so that's okay. Declarations of interest by councillors in any of the agenda items. I would say that when we come to talk about the solar panels, that I am the director of Castlethorpe Community Space, which leases the pavilion. That's mine. That's a state.
That's mine.
Me and Dave, yeah.
Well, I don't think
You'll have to stay.
I don't think there's a conflict of interest because this is actually the parish council thing, which is the ultimate landlord, doing something which is already permitted in the lease. Right, approving the minutes of the last meeting. Are there any matters of accuracy or omission that we need to note? No? In that case, can I have a proposer which is Russell and a seconder which is Darren, and all in favour?
I need to understand.
Yeah. Steve wasn't here, so it's fine. I signed that. And now we move on to reports. So if we can start looking at the branch reports, and we'll go through those. Yeah. So moving on then to the branch report. So item 1 is about the National Lottery grant application, which was successful, and we obtained £20,000 towards solar panels. We'll come on to this later on the agenda, but the first budgetary estimate we had was 25,000, and we did agree that we'd look to provide the other 5,000 from our funds.
Was that inclusive or exclusive of that?
Excluding.
Excluding that.
But all numbers are excluding that.
Okay.
Hedges at the sports ground.
I'll speak to Luke about that, so I need to ring him tomorrow, finalise those, and we'll get them cut.
Did we agree though that they were going to be he's cut down the front hedges now, hasn't he?
No, this is the landscape, not Charlie, this is Cove. It's the hedge between Lodge Farm Court and the bottom of the football.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they want to link up to
They want
different
to make
heights.
different heights, and Luke was going to look at it and see
Right,
what the
okay.
recommendation would be.
Okay. 40 lights in the village being reported, majority fixed. I see the one by Sunnyside Farm has still not been done, but that's a more serious one. I haven't actually been round again to check.
Well, I had confirmation that that one opposite had been done, and I just noticed it hasn't, but the rest, I did have a quick drive around and seemed to, the
Yeah.
ones on going up to Hanslope Road, which is
Yeah.
about all done. So,
Yes.
yeah, it's just the old one or two, I think, still left.
The
Okay.
one opposite the War Memorial that was on during the day.
Yeah, they've looked at that a couple of times, I think it's to do with the foliage.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
always on that one.
yeah. The S106 voluntary sector funding that was devolved to us to distribute has now gone to the cricket club, the church, the Sea Scouts, and the MK Swim Club. So that was it in total 5,800? No,
No,
7,000. Yeah.
290.
So that was all distributed. And I would mention, you know, they were trying this out as a model as to whether they could devolve some of the smaller S106 pots to parish councils to manage rather than using resource and neighbourhood standards.
We didn't hold on to it.
No, we didn't.
We used it well.
Yeah. Well, we knew, I mean, the whole trigger for this was actually the Sea Scouts coming forward, if you remember, and that's the lion's share. And the moment you say money, everyone says please. Right, I think just looking at does anyone want to raise any other points in the numbers 1 to 11? And so this is why we will make these, I hope we'll make these papers available so people can see what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Items 12 to 15. They're all carried forward, and I think they're all still in progress. So hopefully, we are moving forward on the community speedwatch equipment. I think we've got a 6-month loan, and we just now need to get that set up and operational. That will save us spending money. Right, and then we've got the highways issue, which,
Item 16, Bulletin End Road is closed during the day this week. For, I think it's open reach work.
yes, I believe that's now being postponed until the 9th of November,
December.
December.
say, I didn't see it closed today.
You can suggest they do some joined up thing rather than do the potholes at the same time.
Yeah.
3 months.
From where? From past
Well,
the night?
It's actually closed, it was closed at the depths going up towards Hanslope, and it was closed at the junction Throat Close going up your way. Yeah, it was closed in, it wasn't closed for
I
long.
was working from home today, I saw nobody.
Yeah, no, I had to go out,
Yeah, Sandslope Park and Devil's Dip is closed.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, have we finished then with the after report items? Yeah. In that case, we'll move forward to the ward councillors report. Could you possibly bring your chair forward and perhaps Dave, you could swing your screen round so.
Love to.
Yeah.
Ready to swing. Look at that. What swing? You happy with that?
Yeah.
I think you look at that.
Perfect. Okay, so from the last meeting, I had a meeting with Jackie and we went through the list of outstanding highway things. Now I know my problem is that they never tell me when anything gets done, so I don't know if anything gets done. I did see the sign at the top of the road that's been there since August has gone,
Oh, good.
which is good. I know Bullington Road at the bottom was going to be shut, but I think that's been postponed twice. I don't know if that the big pothole at the bottom was
Yeah, I mean,
because the rain seems to be stopping the flow.
actually, it was my grandson pointed out that he said it's been postponed to the 9th because it's meant to have started today.
Yeah, this evening. So they've assured me that's going to get done because there's also some other casework on Bullington Ed where it's been flooding that they have guaranteed will be done sometime this financial year. It's means between now and the end of March. But I've made the case on that. So probably what would be quite useful is I'll just have another quick catch up with Jackie because when you were talking about some of the lights being repaired and the other things from the list, I just want to make sure I'm not nagging them on things that they've done.
Yeah,
If they do them, want to keep them on
yeah,
side,
absolutely.
which is pretty good. So yes, just the major things that have been going on from the council's perspective as well. There's a couple of good things that the council has brought out, which I don't know if you may not have seen yet. If anybody, Milton Keynes will give 100% council tax relief to anybody who's in their household, they've got somebody with a terminal illness. They've just brought this out as a new thing, and it'll last for 12 months. So I'm going to start publicising, we'll put it in our magazines and so on.
Can I just interrupt very briefly there? We got that notice,
You did.
and actually we got a whole flurry of notices came out in the last week on all sorts of things. There's a lot of them are winter related.
Yeah,
And Russell has put a new page on our website,
brilliant.
which has got basically public notices, mostly from NKCC, but some other organisations who they write to us and say, please would you publicise X or Y, and specifically the council tax removal for households where with a terminally ill person is one of the ones that Russell has put up now.
Brilliant. I've just been trying to make sure because we've got various cancer support groups and those kind of things around the place that everybody knows, because hopefully that'll be a good thing. And really the big things from the council are at the last council meeting they put forward their motion to welcome the new city plan. And well, no, actually to welcome the new towns plan from the government. I didn't welcome it. I think it's premature because we don't know where it's going to be, how many houses. And my biggest issue is that the entire new towns plan from the current government will deliver about 300,000 houses when they've got 1.4 million already with planning permission. I think that would be a better use of time. And what were the other things? And just from a Castlethorpe point of view, I'm my part of my ward budget to support the seniors lunch coming up.
I'm sure several of us here will look forward to that. Thank you with in anticipation.
There you go. And also just to say thank you because I thought the remembrance parade was fantastic this year.
Wasn't
It was so well attended, and the Beats and the Scouts and the Cubs, I thought, did an amazing
Yes,
job.
and thank you very much for
Thank you.
coming to let Milton Keynes Council brief.
Yes.
Well, I take it Dave and Russell for
We
closing the road.
We heard it, didn't see it.
All I've ever done is hear it.
It was really wonderful. It was great to see all the villagers doing so much
Yeah.
this year so well.
It was great.
And
I think actually having the Beavers and Cubs there was really good. It
Yeah.
was,
I hopefully will attend one. I missed it. It was my birthday weekend, so we were away.
right.
But I hope we will.
Yeah, no, it was very good, and, really quite, I find it quite moving actually.
yes, it was. And the only last thing, because I know Hampshire are all over it as well, is the waste and recycling site in Wolverton that's being planned. Originally comments were meant to be in actually by tomorrow, or objections or supports. I have a feeling that might be extended again, but it's something that there's quite a few of us that are going to be objecting because turning Wolverton into a one-way and putting 300,000 cars under a single track tunnel, probably not very sensible. So we'll see, but that's pretty much it, unless there was anything else.
Yeah, that's.
Anybody can.
I
And
don't
Betty
think-
will pick up
No.
on the highways things, tick off anyone's.
Just a suggestion, we can fix our potholes ourselves now. We've got leaves to put in them.
Adaptable crowds to be able to do that.
It should be good enough to be for something.
Absolutely.
Probably do a more better job than the councils.
I tell you what, you start, we'll follow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I seem to have been going on training and briefing courses all month, actually. I think I've been to 4 of them. So the first one I think is perhaps rather less interesting, but I did put a note there. It was on it's a training session on the use of AI in local councils. I mean, it is broadly useful. I think the only new bit of information I would say that I got is there is a facility that's provided by, what are they called now? Breakthrough Communications, I think, called GovAssist, which is a kind of like an AI system specifically for local councils. But it's quite tight in the sense that you have to put in the documents that you wanted to peruse rather than just saying go off onto the web. And it tested it on a few examples, and it did give the right answers. So hopefully that may be of some use, but I don't think apart from that, we do actually use it quite a lot for various things. So that was that. Under 4.4, I did put a couple of things in there because I did also go to the new city plan presentation. So I have put that in here in the papers. But just to say on the Newtown's task force, that report that's come in, I did say, there are 3 areas identified for development: densifying the city centre, which definitely did not please Central Milton Keynes Town Council. Yeah, I was trying to remember the phrase that they used, but it was
Plan.
it was but so densifying the city centre, the eastern expansion area, which we know anyway, out by poor old Morso,
Which Bedfordshire are not happy about.
but I mean that's kind of happening already. And then a prospective Milton Keynes North, and I did include in the brief a site that is owned by Urban and Civic, which shows probably the extent of the possible Milton Keynes North nearest to us. And it does come up with the dips, so it is there. But I would say that there are other developers who own further land on the other side of the M1, and I think on this side, which would all be, probably be put in the pot. I mean, this is just urban and civic. It's all very early days. It's certainly not being considered in the new city plan, which is going ahead, which is meant to go up to 2050, and it won't be considered by the government in the first phase, which is in this parliament. But they're currently doing what they said was an environmental review, which is about feasibility and so on. And they hope to have another report in spring of 2026. And I guess it'll be watch this space then. But that's governmental.
So if they're saying that they won't consider it in this phase of Parliament, they will keep on working on laying out the land and checking feasibility and cost and things like that.
That's right. But they've got, I can't remember where the 3 are, but there are 3 out of the 12 that the government has said it's going to build.
Yeah,
3 of them have been identified as priority to be undertaken in this parliament, and the other 9 are post that. So, I mean, I would say, two big chunks of this are almost, within existing plans and Milton Keynes anyway. So, right. So that's that. Yes. Now I also went to the new city plan, and there is a consultation underway at the moment, but it's technical term is a regulation 19 consultation. But this, if I understand it correctly, is really just to make sure that the process has been followed correctly, and you can object to the process. You can't actually, unless there's a process problem, say, I want my bit of land putting in for housing and someone else is taken out. But I've written the, the flim plan. Yes, I see, I did put that in there. That's what Milton Keynes Council said. Because there's 16,000 houses going into their area, but no detail is yet on supporting infrastructure like surgery, shops, community halls, and so on. And we're also talking about converting one of the main streets, I can't remember which one it was, into a tramway. And someone pointed out, well, there are businesses, but
it won't actually be a tramway. It's I think called a glider, which is actually like a metro, but on the roads and a bus on it.
Yeah, I described it as like a bendy bus.
Yeah.
So I think all the buses that Boris got rid of when Livingston introduced them, I think Milton Keynes Council's probably brought them up and is going to call them gliders. Anyway, there you go.
Actually, I'm trying to Liverpool as well.
Yeah. So there is this consultation. It started on the 7th of November. It goes on to the 22nd of December. So just in time to spoil your Christmas. And there are some consultation details there. Have we published anything on this at all?
Yes, on the website.
On the website, yeah. So if people do want to look at that, you can see if you want to make comments. But as I say, it's about process, not about land allocation.
It's on the planning page of the website.
Right. So that was 4.4, and 4.5 went on another training course on data protection obligations. I can't believe I did all this. I've done more this month. I've done the previous 5 years.
Massive lack of volunteer.
When do you graduate?
Anyway, I went on this because it's quite a while since we did. In fact, you may have been, Clark. Did you come on it with me when we did GDPR training years and years ago? Anyway, whatever.
Who can tell?
Who can tell? Now, there are a new set of obligations on data protection coming out, which will be mandatory for all councils. And we will have to sign on the AGAR that our governance is compliant with it. So, it is something we can't sort of ignore. I do take Steve's phrase, which is, you know, why are we bothering with things that aren't value add? And I suspect it won't really add a lot of value to us, but
That's mandatory, we just have to.
yeah, you just have to, yeah. There is very, very strong advice to have separate council emails, which we do have. Strong passwords and two-step verification. Now, I did actually get a message coincidentally from, because I'm one of the administrators, I think Kay is as well, for our workspace. Most of us don't actually have two-step verification done.
I wouldn't know how to put it on.
Just look
Well,
at it now.
Quite often they try and, well, they invite you to, and you always get the later button.
If someone could tell me how to.
So what I'm going to suggest is that can we try and get it done by the end of the year? I mean, I can tell you how to put it on. All it does really is it's going to send a message to your mobile saying, is this you? And you type in the text, as you do with many other things. And you only have to do that the first time, you know, or if you're using a new device or something like that. And it is straightforward. It does stop someone coming in from a different device.
Yeah, no, fair enough. If you can tell me how to do it, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Well, I was hoping, unfortunately, Kay was our expert.
I can do it.
I can, but if I can say, I will switch it on in January, perhaps after our meeting, so you don't shout at me if we can't get to the meeting. I think we ought to switch it on, and it's going to be almost. I mean, I'm saying something's almost mandatory. It's like being almost pregnant, isn't it? But you know what I mean. It's a very strong recommendation. There are various other notices and things that we do have to have, and I do need to have a session with you, Jackie, just to work out that we have got them on pace. I think you covered a lot of them on Silga.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just need to go through, there are things, there are a privacy notice, a legitimate interest assessment. I mean, you do go side, don't you? I mean, it's just, anyway. And there's apparently a new model IT policy. So we'll have to, we'll just have to do it. Probably Jackie and I will try and do as much as we can, but if you can make sure you've got the two-step verification in place, and we'll bring all the other policies to you probably for May.
The website does have a privacy policy on it.
So
the website has a privacy policy.
does it? Oh, good. Yeah, well, that shows how much. Right. Okay, that's that one. Any questions on the delights of a trained chairman?
Only summed it up.
Oh, and you've got a trained bar. When do you get?
Like I said, not yet.
What do you need?
Till August.
All right.
Well, I've got until August. I'd do it sooner, but it's not going too well.
Right. Funny enough, on the AI course that I went on, they were saying, with all your silver exercises, just shove it into an AI system and say, give us the answer.
Well, I think they're saying that they're going to check that people haven't got that. So.
But there you go. Well, it's not an unreasonable thing to do. Right, let's move on then. We haven't got any planning applications this month. Does anyone want to raise any or discuss any of the previous planning applications? Sorry, just put my do not disturb on. Any of the previous applications, I mean, we can't discuss them again. Are there any questions on any of them?
There was a planning, what the process is.
Enforcement.
Yeah, planning enforcement case against another one which should not mention on the agenda, which has been dealt with by that was in the case to answer. That was the planning enforcement against 1 South Street.
What the
That
character?
yeah, it is on there.
Yeah, but
Oh,
that's
that came
been resolved now.
It's, yeah.
Yeah,
there was no case to answer.
yeah,
It came in last week,
Yeah.
genuine issues.
Okay, if there's nothing on that, let's move into the resolution. So I need to propose 7.1, which is a public excluded part 2 of the meeting. Can I have a seconder for that, please? That's Darren, and all in favour? Yeah, thank you. Right, 7.2 is to consider replacing the wooden frame post and making good the brickwork with a village sign on the triangle, given that a resident has very kindly offered to repair the sign. Has Mark given any indication whether it is feasible or not?
It's definitely feasible. He can repair the sign.
Yeah,
Him and Lawrence have both looked at it. Mark's got it,
yeah,
and he will repair it. He just wants to know, is he wasting his time repairing it?
and the answer is no.
Is no.
Well, actually, we'll see how this discussion goes on,
Yeah.
because if we say we're not
Yeah.
going to repair the post and all the rest
I mean,
of it, then
I have had another thought, that if this repairing the sign and we want to use it on the sign means that we can't use the art grant to repair the sign, then can this sign be used somewhere else in the village? Because it's a lovely thing on its own.
yeah. I mean, I'm not quite sure where we would put it,
No.
unless it went on the green somewhere.
But I was thinking possibly the pavilion, maybe somewhere like that. But either way, he's happy to go ahead and
Yeah,
fix it.
I think we do that. I mean, hopefully we'll have a few years' life from doing that.
Yeah.
If he does do that, Jackie has inquired of the S106 officer, James Williamson, who said that unfortunately we can't use the public art funding for repairs to the post and frame, which I can sort of understand. So what I would like to propose is that we ask Jackie to get some quotes in for doing that. It doesn't have to be in wood. In fact, it could be in metal, which might be even better, more durable, because it's quite an exposed area.
Yeah.
And bring that back to us, and we'll have to see if we can fund it. It'd be really good if it was sort of under the big 3 quotes,
Yeah.
formal 3 quotes.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see how it works out.
Is that something that we want to maybe include in the budget for next year, or? Because
Well,
we have
we
included it.
we haven't actually, no, but I mean,
in the past.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those items, yeah.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
it's key, and I think it's one of our kind
Yeah.
of main targets for the year.
Yeah, I mean, we always wanted to get that done, but I have no idea how to budget that, to be honest. I don't know what the cost of a,
Well,
say, for example, metal. And the other thing is that the frame should allow the sign, you know, in 10 years' time or something.
Yeah.
If it does become unrepairable, to be removed and another one put in, you know, so.
I suggest it's a one-off capital project.
Yeah, but I don't know how much to put in them.
Yeah, well, that we need the.
Yeah. We could estimate, yeah. Something for it, yeah.
Can I get a bit more of a brief on what you want me to get a quote?
If you look at the sign post and well, there's no frame.
There's no, is the post still up?
The post is still
Oh, the
there.
post is still
Yeah,
there.
and I've
Oh,
got to put
Yeah.
some bits of wood in the store. Have a word with me, Jackie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We'll look at it together.
all right,
Yeah.
thank you.
And I think some of the brickwork might need a little bit of repair, but I don't think a huge amount.
No.
It's repointing and things, yeah. But it'd be nice to get that up,
Yeah.
and it would be particularly nice to get it done by May, given the
The-
best kept villages.
The elections might be a bit of a challenge in the sign area. Because the elections, there was
Oh,
a
the
light that used to light up the sign.
Oh, the elections.
So the elections,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, right, okay, all
But,
right.
but that will need looking at
I
as
didn't,
well.
yes, of course, you're right, yeah. Okay. So we're happy to do that. Now, the next bit is there's I think it's 38,000 in public art that we've got all together. And if you remember, after the public arts officer came along, she basically set out all of the options that we gave her. we could do the village sign, and we could do artwork in the bus shelters, which was we had a little group, if you remember, a public art group that came up with a number of ideas, and most of them she just said no, no, no. But she did quite like the idea of some artwork in the bus shelters, which we thought would be well, the original suggestion was mosaics, which is quite expensive, which the artist who gave us a budgetary quote said she would work with village groups like the school and so on to, you know, to produce the artwork. And I think, you know, I would suggest that we actually now do start making a move on that.
Yeah.
Try and get an ITT together, which has got to be run past Public Art again, who I think their main interest in life is getting a financial cut of that for their assistance, which we must resist, because I think it's about 11% or something, wasn't it? It was quite a lot of money. And anyway, so that's my suggestion, that we do now try and proceed with that project and use that.
Well, that's also suggested, you know, those photos that the resident took.
Yeah, the man took, but that was going to go into the pavilion, the clubhouse. Yeah. So I'm not so sure about putting photographs into the artwork there. I mean, one of them's of me, which will scare the children anyway. But
I suppose people are going to draw glasses on
yeah.
and stop them.
Well, I haven't really got glasses, yeah. And a moustache. They can't do much to me. They might do something to other people have been photographed. But I think the artwork, are we prepared to do that? I mean,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
All right. Okay. We'll try and get that started. Yeah. Very good. The next one was consider making Part 1 papers available to the public. All that would really involve, well, it's two steps. One is publishing the link to our folder and making it accessible to any member of the public. I think that's what looks needed.
Yeah, that could be easily done on the agenda.
Sorry?
Could easily be done on the agenda.
Yeah.
You do have part 2 stuff on that.
Yeah.
Quotes,
The other thing is, it's Google Drive accessible to the public.
I think it is. Yeah. I think it is. Yeah. Yeah. I think anyone can do it. We could do a little test just to make sure. But Dave's pointed to the next thing, which is obviously we put Part 2 papers on. So, for example, today there's you know, a briefing from Brussels on this dispute that we've got. So it would be slightly less, a bit more inconvenient for councillors, because what we'd have to do is to have a separate folder for our Part 2 papers.
Sure. That's
not hardship, is it?
Right. Just got to make sure we don't do an Office of Budget Responsibility.
That's bound to happen, isn't it?
Probably should, yeah. Are our naming conventions descriptive of the actual data that people want to look at? And will people be able to go into?
We number it with the header item.
They have the item number and have names, not.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it, it says.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think I was just asking the question.
I mean, if I look at today's items, I think that would be fairly self-explanatory too.
Yeah. Definitely.
I think it's a really good thing.
Yeah.
I'd just be careful when we publish it, because sometimes it's a work in progress, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, you're quite right. We would have to put a caveat out that, you know, it is being updated pretty much up to the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we're all in favour, are we? Yeah. It's great. Right, next one is to consider recommendations made in the tree survey from May 23. Jackie, I think you'd like to speak a bit more about this.
I'm still writing down the previous one. Oh yeah, so we had the tree survey, Linger, I think it's in the folder, in May 23. And it made some recommendations, some immediate ones we carried out and some of them a bit more long term, which are now due, 24 months, thing. But the recommendation in the report was to have a report every year. So.
By then.
But you weren't over impressed with them, were you?
Well, the tree that they said would be okay came down.
Came down. Yeah. So we've got.
I feel Luke Stitch up here in his absence. The Councillor Stacey, he's a tree expert, isn't
Well, I don't, is it?
he? Oh, he is,
Yes.
he is, clearly.
Yeah,
He should be.
yeah. You're not allowed to pay a councillor there for the job, so you can't let a contract to Luke. But I think your recommendation is that we probably ought to have a survey again.
Then people that bring.
Yeah.
When, if they say that the ones that were due to be some work done on 2 years ago, whether they think that's now immediate. Or just
Yeah.
before we waste any money.
And how many of these trees are still there?
Yeah.
Well, one's gone, hasn't
Yeah.
it? So,
I mean, Luke could advise you on
yeah.
on
On
an
who to
arborologist.
Yeah, they did give us bad advice.
They just
Yeah.
thought that very thorough, weren't they?
I mean, it is sometimes difficult to tell. I mean, I remember
Yeah,
with that
so that you
chestnut
get up.
down at on the triangle that came
Yeah.
down. I mean, Ian was suspicious of it,
Yeah.
but the only way they confirmed it was wrong was actually drilling into it
Yeah.
and taking
Yeah.
a sample, and then they said, yes, this has to come down because it's
Yeah, but if we're asking people to do a health check on the tree and that kind of,
yeah.
it just falls over about 3 months later.
Yeah.
Then that's not good.
Not what we thought.
I'm not quite sure why, but anyway, whatever.
Is it really necessary to have a glossy 19-page report when basically all you need is a list of the trees that
Yeah,
need work doing?
but
Justify it there.
Yeah.
It's a thing of beauty, isn't it? There's no pictures.
Mm. Well, look,
The money.
are we agreed? Are we agreed? The resolution is that Jackie speaks to Luke and appoints an arborologist, assuming the costs are broadly in line with what happened what the last one was, about £300, I think you said. But obviously we've gone up a bit now in 2 years. That we engage.
Bring it through that it's we want to know for this.
Well, aren't we looking to plant some trees, Castlethorpe?
We can't plant
No,
anything, we
can't.
can't.
That's sports grounds, so, yeah.
Sports ground, I mean, there were 3 that Luke was going to,
No, don't worry, that's something separate.
and he was going to talk to one of the householders he was going to plant it right in front of their house.
Yeah.
Right. We're okay with that?
Yeah.
Right, so now moving on with 7.6, which is to agree to proceed with installing solar panels at the pavilion and delegating the procurement process to Cloud and 2 or more councillors. Now, I did just summarise this and put a note up today, which you may or may not have had a chance to read. But to repeat part of what I said earlier, we had a budgetary quote of 25k from a reputable supplier. We applied for a grant for 20k, which is actually the maximum you can do under the National Lottery Community Fund, which is a relatively quick and not too, difficult application. And we got a decision much quicker than we expected. We would have to put in 5k, possibly up to 10k, depending, there are other bits, there's always things you find. This is for solar panels and batteries. Just to be clear, the financial return is to the parish council. We would take over the supply of electricity to the pavilion from the existing supplier. So instead of basically Luke Jeffries buying his electricity from, I don't know, Ecotricity or somewhere, we would take that contract over and we would then resell electricity to Luke. giving him a small discount on that which is generated from our solar panels. And I don't know what that proportion would be.
Can I just ask that any electricity that we don't sell back to can we sell that back to the grid?
You can, but the rates that you get for commercial premises are a lot less favourable than those you would get from a residential property.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I mean, the thing is, I think there will be questions asked about, it'd be great, we've got 20 grand run, that's good. But there will be questions asked about, is the further 5 or 10,000 that we're putting in of value to the village, to the parish? So we're going to have to do something that equates to a business plan.
Yeah, well, as you can see in my paragraph, I've said that, you know,
I did read it.
we will provide free electricity from the panels to the tenant at the appliance prices. There's a small discount.
Yeah.
We will provide an estimate of the payback period when we've got the quotes in. So at the moment, we don't know. I mean, it does depend on when. It's different to Hanslope, because Hanslope is basically a sports pavilion, which is relatively low
Sure.
uses of power.
And they haven't got.
We've got basically a business running. So it's a fairly strong demand, and we do know, and I won't say it in this public meeting, but I've told you roughly what his monthly bill is. And it's the issue is how much of that can be displaced by the solar panels, and I don't know. Obviously, you get more electricity generated in the summer, but arguably you have less heating requirements in the summer as well. We have aircon, so quite how it all balances out is very, very difficult to know. You can only take a finger in the air and say, of the money that he's currently paying, perhaps 50% of it would be, I mean, or if anyone knows any better, 50% of it would be just, you know, generated from the solar panels, or stored in the batteries and then fed back, which is the same thing. And 50% would still have to be bought at the supply prices.
Mm-hmm.
And from that, depending on what quote we get, you can calculate a payback period.
Got my pessimist hat on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, worst case scenario, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, we've got solar panels on the pavilion. The pavilion goes bust.
Yeah.
What happens then?
Well, you do what? You sell it back to the grid.
You sell it
That's the basis of my.
but as a business.
Sorry? Well, there are two things. I mean, firstly, I don't really want to talk about the pavilion going bust.
No,
Yeah.
you're right, but
No.
I'm just,
I mean,
But about
the
situation.
fact is, you know, there's been one tenant in there who couldn't make a go of it. We've got Luke in there now, trying to make a go of it. You know, it is, you know, premises. I mean, yeah, they are. It's an interesting point which has come up about the rateable value of that, and it's quite high actually. So that is what they say is a fair market value for using it. It should be usable. It depends how you use it.
Yeah.
But at the very worst, you'd then send it back.
Oh, that's fine. So there wouldn't just be a white end.
No.
Well, I mean, that's the point I was going to get across. If you know, if there were no kind of revenue stream from the business in there, what could we get back from the grid?
Yeah. Well, in fact, the suppliers, we actually got two quotes, didn't we? We got one, and anyway, we got two quotes, and they both were working on the basis of selling it to the grid. So the payback period does go out quite a long way, I think.
But
15 years.
if it's
does.
reasonable,
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So as it's a contract of the order of 20,000-30,000, that sort of order, I think it has to go through Contract Finder.
it's 25 grand including that.
Yeah.
So if we're saying that the 25 grand quote we've received was exclusive of that, it'll have to go through contract finder.
Yeah, that's right. So you go through Contract Finder. It won't have to go through Finder Tender. These are the public body procurement methods. So I think you know, if we start on that, obviously, pretty much in a couple of weeks' time, you know, it's going to be very difficult getting responses from people because it'll all be at their office parties and things. So, you know, I would think would be actually almost pushing it to get a response by the end of January to give people a decent time to reply. But hey, I don't know. So I think it's going to run into February the earliest, probably a couple of months after that before we can award the contract. Yeah. Now, managing the process, I was hoping that Luke I'd forgotten that Luke had offered his apologies. I was going to, you know, hope that Luke, I think he might have some experience in this. There is a resident who has actually got solar panels himself, but more importantly, he has got some experience in managing buildings that we could also co-opt to help us to, you know, keep us on the straight and narrow, because I've never put solar panels in. So would we be happy with Jackie? I mean, actually, Jackie is our responsible officer anyway, would lead these things, but with a couple of us helping him, and perhaps co-opting someone if we need specialist knowledge.
Of course.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, Jackie.
Yeah, that is the job. That is that. It would be wrong for anybody else to do it, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're all in favour then of proceeding with that. Okay, couple of easier one. Well, one easy one and one we'll have to defer. Steve, the tennis court padlock guard.
Yeah, I've tried to call Phil a couple of times and got no answer, but you know, we have agreed for him to. Well, I've been authorised to actually pay for a padlock for him, so when I can actually get in touch with him, we'll get it done.
But it's also the guard, because as I gather,
Yeah, it's the whole unit.
It's the whole unit.
It's the whole unit that kind of achieves the locking. And some things that you can't actually get out of the lock itself.
Yeah. Do we know whether kids are still going in there and playing?
We don't, but we agreed that there's really nothing we can do about that because they're using the combination, and they're just giving the combination to their friends.
So what are you talking about a key or?
I went over this a couple of. We use keys are very costly and difficult to administer. So Luke's preference, and he says that he's got not Luke, Phil. Phil's preference is for a combination of because of the overheads in running a kind of key system and things like that, and a secure key system of that. And he just said that with the public courts with no booking system, it's absolutely impossible to keep track about who the last user was, who the next user is, stuff like that. And what's happening is people are getting a combination, and probably through their kids passing it on to other kids who are getting in. So we agreed that in terms of any damage done, that should be picked up by the tennis community and recovered at the next time that membership allows for membership. So you just actually put that cost on the annual membership. And he agreed. Well, it was his suggestion that that's about the only way you can do it. So really, I thought we'd agreed a couple of meetings ago, last one I was at, that I'd agree lock unit with Phil. He'll pay for it, and I'll give him the money back and reclaim it. But he said there's really nothing you can do in public court to keep kids from doing.
Well, I mean, the problem is they are damaging, aren't they? With damage.
Yes, but it's not just ankle. That's what happens. and the cost of administering a key system would be greater than.
Designing to do stuff.
But, well,
But
it was
I'll
Phil,
leave it to you.
that was Phil's thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. Trouble is, if there's a lot of damage done in there, you know, for example, the nets and the
Yeah.
netball backboards.
Yeah,
And it turns out to be, I don't know, £1,000 or something.
yeah,
And you've got, and he says, right, we're going to put that on next year's membership fees.
Well, it's not gonna, is it?
Yeah.
I think what Steve has said, it's true, it's something you really, unless you're gonna put a guard there,
yeah,
there's not a lot you can do. What would be, I was hoping for, is that with the pavilion being there and people being around the pavilion, that would have been like a deterrent really to some vandalism,
Yeah.
because you know, it's not difficult to see what's going on.
It was actually a blind spot.
Yeah, but at least there are people there. aren't
yeah,
there?
and in the summer, you can see what's going on, but you do see kids jumping about on the nets and that.
But even if you had CCTV, you've got film.
CCTV does cover it.
Yes, but what
It
can you?
is covering.
Yeah. And you then have to plough through the CCTV to find the
Yes.
incident, you know.
Yeah.
So you can't change the combination every month.
Yeah, but again, it's just, they'll just give a different combination of the mates together, and it's getting that information out to all the membership.
It won't have the old one, it will be, you're booking it that month, this month, or whatever you want.
Hang on.
Wait.
Yeah, Kevin, we can't. Yeah.
I'll talk to you
Look,
about
yeah. I mean, all I would say, Steve, is that we have got key registers for other things, for example, the village hall, you know, and the old pavilion, in fact, the pavilion, you know, there's key registers for the tenant has got, so it's not that hard to manage. But hey, I'll leave it to you.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, that was Phil's thoughts on the matter.
Yeah.
And makes sense to me that as long as there's not too much, if there is £1,000 of damage done, then obviously it does present a bigger problem. But that's the way he was happy with taking it forward.
Okay. All right. Okay. 7.8 was another tree that Luke was looking at that, and obviously Luke's not here, so we'll have to defer that item.
Is that tree one of the ones that's scheduled in the pre-report to be looked at?
No, it's not, but I was going to bring up under correspondence because we have had another resident ask about another tree which will be in, it's a healthy tree from the last report. So yeah, this one is, I think this one's a kind of a wild one that's just grown, it's a self-setter.
Okay. Right. Let's first of all look at the RFO, the payment schedule for this. And just looking at it. It's the usual suspects, the village hall fire alarm service, the replacement battery for the defibrillator outside, the sports ground maintenance. Oh, and you spent 50 quid training me on data protection. There you go.
Money well spent.
Money well spent. And then, do you want to say a few words about the annual insurance premium?
Yeah,
Jackie?
so the last insurance policy we took out was for 3 years, and that's now coming to an end on the 7th of December. So I've asked Clear Council for a revised quote, and they're waiting for, they've raised a question with the underwriter who hasn't come back yet, so they've got a query that they can't give us a quote until they've got an answer to the query, which they are aware of is urgent because it runs out next week.
What's this insurance for? This building?
The whole,
It's
this, the village hall, all our assets basically.
Yeah.
Public liability.
Public liability, everything,
It's
all things, about, so I've put an estimate of 2,000, but that's just.
You
the quote.
work ladder.
That's a
And,
bit of a guess.
I have asked Jackie to get them to break out the cost of the pavilion insurance, because that is rechargeable to the tenant. Right, you switched your video off, I don't know if you're aware. Okay, I'll propose that we sign this, Russell as a seconder, are we all in favour of the? Right, okay.
Okay.
So now let's move on to the budget. Now, as you know, Jackie produced the draft one budget. We held a Zoom call where we could share the sheet and just work through it. And we think we've got a fairly sensible cost budget here. Now, I know some of you couldn't make it, and we did offer a follow-up Zoom if you wanted to do that before this meeting. But are there any questions that anyone has got about the cost side of the budget? I mean, to kind of reassure you, I mean, Jackie had done a projection forward, and then Steve as chair of Sports Ground and Russell as chair of Village Hall, made sure that those which tend to be our biggest cost groups were as right as we can get them. Yeah.
Yeah, I've gone through
So-
it. I couldn't think of adding anything to it.
Okay, thank you. So, on the basis of that, and that does give us. Then I'm just checking it. So it's the suggested amount. I've now lost the brief a bit, Jack. So that's it. Is it this column I'm looking at?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you move that up. Oh, that's moved up. Right. Our tax base has increased, i.e. there's more houses in the village, which is almost certainly the occupation of Carrington Grove. So our tax base has increased. And if you just take the same Band D rate that we currently have, we would have this amount of £43,489. Okay, that does actually give us a surplus for capital projects, and obviously we are looking at a number of capital projects, and specifically we have made an application to the Community Infrastructure Fund for some footlights to go across the sports ground from Lodge Farm Court, so that whole footpath would be illuminated, and same style as the two that have been installed at the Thrupp Close end. I think the total project that we estimated was about 8,000, so our contribution would be 4,000 there. We have we have looked at an additional speed indicator device. Remember we talked about one going on, I think, Bullington Road. And Jackie's got a rough estimate over and above the grant that we got from Thames Valley Police, or Thames, has anybody for them, or the piece of private permission, something anyway. And so we need to put 2,000 in for that. And then we put in this solar panel project. And then we've got various other things that we need to think about, like the village hall interior painting, new doors and so on. And the new doors are becoming pretty urgent, and that we may need to do that. PDQ. So at the moment, there's about 13,000 that's being transferred. Now, I did put a note out that at present, I think we're going to end the year, unless we've spent money within this year, which we might do. We would. Oh, I'm just trying to. Just bear with me for a moment, please. Just trying to read my own writing here. It's come out very small, isn't it? Why? I thought we had something like 19,000. Yeah, there it is. We should have a balance of 19.8 thousand in our deposit accounts and indeed current account at the end of the year, working on Jackie's current projection, which is reasonably healthy. So I think we ought to start thinking now about what level of precept increase we need. And you know, we have been at 5% the last couple of years. I would suggest we could potentially come in a little bit lower than that this time. Each, again, turning back to the budget, each well, obviously each percent is going to generate £434, £435. Yeah. So if, for example, 3%, call it 500, 3% would generate £1,500 extra there. But you know, you could say go for the 4.99, which is what we previously had, or any other number. Yeah. We don't have to decide tonight. We do have to decide in January, because we have to get the submission, our demand, into Milton Keynes Council pretty much by the end of January.
I could say that the post for the village sign needs to go in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's
So that's another possibly £2 grand.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So that'd be.
So I mean, what I'm saying is on this basis at the moment, we have about 19 plus 13, so we have about 32. But you know, we've got projects identified, which are 16, plus things which are still emerging, like the cost of the new doors, which are probably about £4 grand, is it?
Not quite as much, is that not about 3?
About £3 grand.
I think.
Do you want to make the decision tonight?
Well, only councillors want to make the decision tonight.
I mean, I think it sounds like you're absolutely right. The 4.99%.
Yeah, I mean, I would go for 4.99.
Yeah, the same as you. I don't think there's any reason to do anything other than what we normally do, and that's our normal. That's what it's probably a reasonable increase.
I mean, going down to 3% isn't going to give our residents a holiday in the Bahamas, is it?
No, in monetary terms, it's I can't remember what 5% is, but it's really not that much.
Well, it's going to be 5. It's going to be about 2,500. Well, in fact, less than
but to the individual council.
Oh, to the individual. I think our Band D rate is about. I haven't calculated this before. I think we might be round about. Well, call it £80. Might be 90, but even if it's 90, 5% increase is going to be £5 over the year. Yeah, which is 50p a month.
Exactly, it's just not
4.99.
I think 4.99.
Okay, I'm must say, I'm feeling inclined to have been a bit loud, but Russell, do you have a view on this?
You thought 4.9.
Yeah, fine.
Do you want to make the decision tonight? Or-
See why not?
Yeah.
I'm happy to make it.
Okay, can we have a proposer then?
I'll say
Okay,
it.
right, all in favour, then, right? With that says, that's in the band D rate.
Yeah.
Not in the preset.
It's all right,
I'm going to
the,
check it all with you.
the form,
I'm
the
not
form
gonna-
takes you through it.
Yeah, yeah. You have to keep it in venue, so.
All right. Okay, well, there we go. Moving on then, 9 correspondence received. I think we just had crime statistics. Says 1 attempted burglary, 1 parking dispute with criminal damage. Most seriously, of course, we did have a theft of Christmas decorations
The rainbows.
from, yeah. That is,
Tracy's
uh,
got-
oh, really? Yeah,
Tracy's got-
yeah,
What day then?
Three,
Well,
you know, like between 3 and
Yeah,
5.
yeah.
yeah. So that was
Yeah.
that was dreadful. I don't even know what you do to stop that. I mean, if you're going to have Christmas decorations outside,
Yeah, and,
what are you going to do? So we're not going to do that.
so it's a reindeer.
Nine, nine.
Yeah,
Nine.
Whole family of
must have put a wagon or something or.
them.
In
They must
broad
have-
daylight.
In broad daylight, yeah, she went out for a walk, apparently, and when she came back,
9 reindeer.
We've got to ask yourself why.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be
Well-
sold somewhere.
Yeah.
Exactly, that's what.
Anyway, that is the crime report. It's not. We'll just get cross if we talk about that. Is there any other business for noting or including on the meeting, for including next year?
Yeah,
Not for me then.
Okay, in that case, I think we can declare the public part of the meeting closed. Okay, so thank you. If anyone did make it through to the end, I repeat it is for Christmas and the New Year to you all, and see you on the 5th of January. Arnell.